Yo, Pedro. Turquoise. Turquoise and Bay Eye. Yeah. Hurry up, man. I already started recording. Alright. So as I'm sitting here in my buddy Andrew's recording studio for the day, waiting for my guest Pedro, I should play that song, Portugal the Man, Sleep Forever. The part of the song that really gets me is he says, I don't want to work forever. That's what I keep thinking about. As we'll discuss in this episode, I just got fired from my job on Friday. I was at an accounting job for the past 2 months. And the only thing I wanted to do when I was there was just sleep. Like, I didn't sleep in for 2 months, which for me is like a big thing. Like, I'm a skinny guy that's trying to work out all the time and doing all this jiu-jitsu. It's not, maybe this is a mental block I have, I don't know. But I always feel like I just need more rest than society gives me time for. Right? If I'm working an 8-hour job, which turns out to be a 9-hour job, which with driving and all that, getting prepared turns into a 10-hour job, plus training jiu-jitsu an hour and a half a day, plus trying to organize food and all that. I'm living with my parents, trying to keep them happy. You know, they want to ask me questions and talk. It's exhausting, right? I just want to sleep forever. Don't want to work. I want to work tomorrow. Excuse me. I feel like I'll be very coughy on this podcast. I'll be coughing a lot because I spent the past couple days in San Diego hanging out with Pedro. On Friday, that's when I got fired. I got fired at 3:30, and immediately just went straight to the bank. Like, they gave me, they were very generous. They gave me a week's worth of pay extra on top of was already payday. So I got some extra cash in me, went straight to the bank, went straight to the weed store, and then came down to San Diego. And since then, I've been hanging out with Pedro. I'm sure we'll talk about it in this episode. We just had like a really fun weekend, just drinking a lot, eating terrible food. which is a big thing for me because like the past couple months I haven't really been drinking that much. I've been on my kale shake diet, which I think is like a part of the reason why I got fired. They didn't bring it up or anything, but I was farting so much in that office because I'd wake up, my breakfast was always, it's a kale shake with any other healthy things I can see in the kitchen. So sometimes that's cashews, avocado is always a go-to. Recently it was carrots, sometimes cucumbers. Oh, sorry. And so all these things are like, one of the benefits, I shouldn't say benefit, one of the side effects of eating healthy is farting a lot. So yeah, that's something I'll never know. Obviously I can't go back and say, you know, did I lose my job because of the farting? Like I'm sure even in the meetings that when they're discussing my termination, the farting thing didn't get brought up. I think it was a big factor though. Alright, I'm going to pause this, wait for Pedro. There's a real thing that happens, is called Pedro lag, in which any single circumstance Pedro finds himself in that revolves like on a time schedule, he will be late. For I don't know if there's like one reason. It's gotta be a mental thing. But it's something I've dealt with for many years. You know, Pedro, he was one of my oldest friends from college. One of the first people I met when we were 18, freshman in college. And since then, just every single thing we've done, we've just been late. And so, here I am waiting, just waiting. Tea is ready to drink. There's a pipe ready for him to pack. But I gotta play that song. I think I should do an intro for a podcast for quite a long time. You know, a lot of podcasts I listen to, you know, particularly Chris Ryan, they always have like this cool intro at the beginning. And so, I can't say for sure that this was a cool one. I don't know how that song sounded. Sounds like my voice is a bit scratchy and coughing, but it's worth an effort. Tales of Macaque podcast, episode, I don't even know.
Yay, yay!
Here with my brother, Pedro Martinez.
What's up? What's up?
How is it going, my brother?
Bro, it's good, man. You know, I've been wanting to get on the show for a long time. I've been following for a minute since it started, at least. I know it's still in its infancy, but, you know.
Still working out the kinks a lot.
Yeah, man, I've been trying to track it, and I know we talked about having me on the show a while ago, and we thought that I would never show up again, so it's deemed an impossibility.
Yeah, man, I thought I'd never see you again, dude.
Yeah.
Last time I saw you before this was I took over your room in San Diego, and you dipped out to Thailand. Like
Trading Places Thailand edition.
Like, how many days before your flight did you book it? Like, not many.
6, maybe? Like, maybe.
Like, that's the most, like, fucked up story that, like, worked out so well.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, I completely, like, A, got very lucky, but B, just kind of made a snap decision, like, one of the biggest snap decisions in my life. And, you know, I think it was one of those decisions where I was like, you know what, like, I know what I want to do. Rather than trying to fit, like, a bunch of activities to, like, be, like, the best decisions, I was like, I know what I want to do. Let me just see if I can find a way to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that makes any sense.
I mean, kind of, I get it. Like, you wanted to not be working.
Right.
Which is a big thing.
Right.
So you were telling me a little bit today, man. You just had the most hectic job back then?
It was really hectic, man, yeah. I mean, like
you're living in LA by yourself.
Oh, well, so
and
my LA job, it was a mixture of both. Like, I really liked the company. I really liked the people I worked with. I wasn't too crazy about the industry itself and just the fact that 9 to 10 hours a day I was sitting at a desk cranking out numbers, and it was the same on a monthly basis, more or less. You know, I mean, that's just the nature of accounting, man. It's cyclical,
yeah. Cyclical.
And so you're just stuck there, kind of. You know, you feel like some Matthew McConaughey shit, man. You're just like, time really is a flat circle. Jesus Christ, like, fuck, man. I've been doing the same shit every day. Did you get any of that with your work experience?
Oh,
like,
for sure.
You know, business day 5, X reports due. Business day 7, Y reports due. And you just live in a cycle of business days, man.
Yeah.
No other number
mine
matters.
Was, even smaller than that, man, it was weekly. Every Wednesday I do this. Every Thursday I do that. Yeah, but man, no more of that for me, man. It's Friday, man. I got fired.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about what you're thinking as far as, like, well, whatever you want to disclose at this time, but I don't know if you've had... I know you told me this morning you haven't had much time to think about the next steps because we've been chilling too fat. So it's like...
Yeah, so like to set the stage for people listening, like right now it's Tuesday afternoon. I got fired on Friday afternoon. So at 3:30, I just got called into the conference room. I was working on something, and there's like, hey,
Mid-task.
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 No questions asked. But they're really nice about it. There's like, so...
Was it one person or two people that you had
Two
to sit
people were
down?
in there.
Two people. Your boss and your manager?
And the CEO.
Your boss and CEO.
Yeah. And the CEO, I've known him like my whole life. Like he's one of my dad's good friends.
He got you the position, right?
Hooked him
I mean,
up.
more or less. Like he was your in. Yeah.
Yeah. There's two guys there that my dad knows.
So you had to look him in the eye during this conversation where he's
Yeah.
like, "This isn't really working out."
But he said it like in such like a sweet way. He's just like, "Let's make your heart's very into this. You don't seem to be getting along very well. I think it's affecting your work."
Yeah.
And there's nothing I could say. I can be like, "No, well, actually, I love it." Like, you know what I mean? Like he was right entirely.
Did you say anything like, "So what are we going to do about this?" Or was it just kind of like he was like,
No, he sat down. I was like,
leave.
he's like, "We've decided to let you go." And they had like a check ready for me, like, because like the week that I worked, because payroll works obviously.
Yeah.
You don't get paid that week.
Right.
So they had a check ready for me, which included all of that week that I already worked.
They give you a long
and
check
the next
again,
week.
which is a dope check to get.
Yeah, so they were really nice about that, and they had it all ready to go. And they're just like, "Don't worry about what's on your computer. We don't give a fuck.
Okay.
Don't put anything away. Don't say bye."
So how long were you there, man?
2 months.
2 months is a long time, man. People think that's a short time, and it can be a short amount of time or a long amount of time, but I'm sure you definitely feel like those 2 months, something happened.
Oh, for sure.
It's not like, I've definitely had an easy pass of 2 months in my lifetime, and I've had the most hectic 2 months of my life, and very different amounts of time.
Yeah, it feels very different.
Yeah.
Which is a cool thing. Like time doesn't always feel the same.
No,
which is
man,
kind of like
it's
a
relative.
good thing. Like that's like a good thing to know.
It's relative, yeah. And that's actually one of the things that I learned. So, like, for the listeners, probably already know that Marshall's big into meditation, and he convinced me to spend some time at a silent retreat when I was in Thailand, and that was probably one of the biggest takeaways, is how relative time is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are left alone with your mind, 10 minutes can feel like 10 hours.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about it. Like,
Yeah.
because I know my first 10-day retreat, the first 2 days were fucking forever.
Yeah.
But then the next 8 days fly by.
Right.
Which is very strange. Like,
Yeah.
people don't like to think that they don't have that much control over their perception of things.
Yeah.
Especially something that we take so much for granted, like time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you even, what did you say, like, the other day, like, how is everyone just on time? Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, well,
how did we just agree to all meet at the same place?
I mean, it just amazes me how, like, human beings... So, one of the things I've learned in my classes right now is that human beings are generally not as good at calibrating things as they think they are. So, like, what that means is, like, so a simple calibration exercise is for me to ask you, like, Marshall, what city is bigger, Kansas City, Missouri, or Madison, Wisconsin? And you just say, Kansas City, Missouri. And I say, how sure are you on a scale of 1 to 10? If you say, I'm like a 9, right? Majority of people tend to overestimate that level of certainty.
Oh, I
like,
see.
You're 90% sure that Kansas City is bigger than Madison, Wisconsin. Like,
you're not
actually
I've researched.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. You have no idea.
Just guessing.
And then, so what happens is, like, you do a lot of those exercises. After a while, you start to say, you know what, I am like 4%, like 40%, 4 out of 10 chance that it's bigger. And you realize after doing all these exercises, like, half the time, you're not even fucking right. You have no idea, right? But somehow humans can calibrate time in this weird way, like, oh yeah, man, I'll meet you in 3 hours. And it's like, I mean, obviously you have a clock that you can use, but
that
like,
helps.
there's a lot of them too. But like, still, to be able to like mindlessly go about your day and then 3 hours later, like, be somewhere else, it's pretty crazy, man. And everybody does it.
Except for Pedro.
Except for me.
Pedro is not one who's on time.
I don't exist within the bounds of time.
But Pedro, why are you so laggy? I lag because I'm outside of this bullshit thing you invented.
Yeah, dude, I live in the 5th dimension.
I kind of like explained in the intro, which I was recording, like, I think it worked out pretty well, man. I was listening to that song and you called me. It's like our phone calls on the intro.
Oh, awesome.
And I briefly introduced the idea of Pedro lag.
Oh, of course, dude. Yeah. I mean, I come from a long line of laggers, too. Like, it's just something, man.
Your father and his father.
No, actually, my dad, he's, like, very prompt. My mom tends to be more of a lagger, but, like, it has definitely, like, bothered him, like, over time. And he's like, damn it, now you guys lag too.
Oh.
And we're just like, yeah, man, you know, I mean, that's how it is. But I've gotten a lot better about my lag. Like, I've gotten better about, not trying to fit too many activities into a little time frame. Because that used to be a big thing for me. Yeah. That used to be a big thing for me.
Like, you've been in town just a couple of days, and, like, awesome couple of days.
Yeah.
But you're flying out, like, soon.
Yeah.
And so this morning, you're like, man, all we gotta do today is gotta eat lunch with my aunt and record a podcast.
Yeah.
And I should make edibles, and I gotta pack. Like, no, man, like, stop there.
It got
like,
too hectic. And
keep it small.
Yeah, and at a point, I think, and actually, this is something that me and Kwame have talked about, like, a lot of people that lag, you can look at them in a light of just being extremely optimistic people because they just think they can accomplish way more than they actually can in the amount of time that they're given.
I see.
So Kwame's a perfect example. Like, you'll be like, Kwame, you want to meet me for a beer in like an hour? And he'll be like, oh yeah, he's totally down. But then like he'll just lag doing something else that's fun, and it's like, it's not like a lag out of spite. It's just like, oh man, it would have been great. Like, I just like, you know, I just already having fun, and you know.
I think there's a big social thing to that.
Oh, yeah.
I study Kwame. I study that guy.
Yeah.
Especially when I was living with him. I lived with him for 6 months. And just anytime anyone asks him if he's down, he's always down.
Always, yeah.
Always. Like, no matter what.
It's a great mentality to have, man.
Someone,
I think it's a really great mentality to have.
Oh, for sure. And, like, it looks good, like, in a social setting.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you like this? Fuck yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm in. But then, like, it gets him in weird situations. Like, he just started watching Game of Thrones Season 5. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, you're diving into the most complicated show in history.
Like, most people that watch a Game of Thrones have seen seasons, like, 1 through 5
multiple
at least
times.
3 times.
Yeah.
They haven't seen it enough, and they've already seen it. But...
still confused.
Yeah, still confused every time. But Kwame can just hop straight in somehow in Season 5, man. It blows my mind.
Bro, I read all the books and I'm still confused. Like, you understand, you're the only few people who understand, like, how I had that much time to read all of Game of Thrones.
When did you read it? When you were in Santai?
Yeah, when I was in Thailand, man.
Bro, that place, like, literally, everybody reads books there, man.
Yeah, because you just have time.
Yeah.
Like, you just, like, life is so simple there. I loved it.
It's great, man.
Like, what was your daily, like, tell people, what would you do all
my
day?
fondest memory of Thailand is, like, the fact that, you know, you're out there with, you know, all these really chill people that you meet out there. And I remember we used to do whatever we wanted, man. Not in a bad way, but just in terms of, like, for example, my fondest memory is the day that we all woke up, went to the coffee shop, and for breakfast, we had, like, 3 scoops of ice cream each, and, like, we split a pack of cigarettes and coffees, mad coffees. And that was breakfast. Like, you don't do that when you're anywhere from, like, 20 to 27, which was the range of the homies that were there.
And these aren't, like, backpackers. We're not
No.
talking about just, like,
These
you
are
guys didn't meet
fighters,
at a hospital.
man. Yeah, no.
You're living at a Muay Thai academy.
Yeah, like, and the
kickboxing.
reason we had breakfast like that is because we were like, well, fuck it, man. We're going to be training for 4 hours today anyways. Like, the 3-mile run at least will burn this off in this, like, sweltering heat. Like, dude.
This in-hospital environment we chose.
Oh, my God. Not friendly to foreign people, man. But then, you know, did you ever notice that, like, Thai people, they have, like, I don't even know, like, their bodies just run cooler, man. Like, they're able to wear, like, long-sleeve shirts and jeans and, like, ride around on mopeds in the heat and, like, not even, like, break a sweat. And, like, all the foreigners are just, like, dying.
There is something to that for sure.
Yeah,
'cause I've heard that
your
about
body goes
like
up in the climate.
like people on the equator, like, don't sweat.
I bet it, dude.
Like,
Yeah,
they just don't need it.
yeah. That's like probably people who grow up around here actually, run SD.
SD.
Maybe you too, man.
I sweat all the time.
That's interesting.
I don't sweat that much though. I think that's like a body fat thing as well.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Yeah. And then you got your people that like. I think there's definitely like the more fat you have, the more you'll tend to sweat. But then in each class of its own, there are the people that don't sweat and then like sweat profusely, and then everywhere on the spectrum in between. You know. So like. Yeah, I don't know. That's something I've just noticed. Like Seabass, man. Our buddy Seabass, he doesn't sweat no matter what, man.
Really?
Yeah, like we'll go out and maybe it's because he's South African, man, or whatever.
Yeah.
But we'll go out and play basketball in like 90-degree weather, and I'll drenched through a t-shirt, and like he won't even have like broken a sweat. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and that's helpful for Thais because they're deathly afraid of getting a suntan. So like, that's a big thing in Southeast Asia. Did you get any whitening cream? Was that like available?
I saw it. I thought it was really funny It's like, did that spread out of China? Because it's like very heavy in China, right?
Huge.
The whole
in China.
white skin thing.
Oh, huge.
Yeah, they're
China,
real big
Japan,
on it.
Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so I guess Thailand like is like a darker people naturally. They're more south, and so it's even like more prized. Like even though it's all the billboards, anyone on TV, they're all like ghostly white.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and all the white people that they get to like be in ads and shit.
Did you meet people to do that? Like actors?
No.
actors
I'm just
in
thinking of the
Thailand?
billboards that I saw like in like the 7-Eleven ads. There's 7-Elevens in Thailand, man. What the hell?
Like a lot of them.
Like you were telling me, you were like, yeah, man, there's all these 7-Elevens, and I was like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like there's not all these 7-Elevens. Like no way. Literally got off the plane, got picked up by, I can't remember who was that. I think it was Groupon or Krulop, and just was driving back to the gym in the truck, and 7-Eleven after 7-Eleven, man, block after block.
Multiple. Dude, there's a spot in Bangkok where there's straight up, it's a huge intersection. There's a 7-Eleven on each corner. Like, the crossing's all fucked up. You can't walk to all of them.
It's ridiculous.
But they're there.
It's ridiculous.
Each corner. And so Taiwan's like that as well. Like, Taipei, if, like, 7-Eleven's like a dope place to go to get, like, fruit or coffee. Mm-hmm. Like, here, I'd never go there for fruit.
Yeah.
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But there, it's owned by the Japanese. And so they have, like, tables inside you can chill. Like, they have Wi-Fi.
Damn.
They have, like, fresh fruit. They have dank coffee.
That's awesome.
And so you go there, and, like, if you miss one, like, if you walk past it for whatever reason, you just go to the next one. Like, it's not even an issue. It's like getting a taco in San Diego.
Seriously, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
Fucking crazy.
Some of the many things that catch you off guard, like when you're out in Southeast Asia.
Yeah? What's the weirdest thing you ate? Did you get crickets?
No.
No?
No, I'm not opposed. Like, I don't know why I started laughing. It's just a funny first food to throw out there. What about crickets?
I was thinking what I ate.
No, I mean, all right, so I would say the weirdest thing that I saw being consumed and almost consumed was chicken feet.
Yeah.
Like, the homies...
I didn't understand that.
I couldn't do it, man. The homies were, like, eating chicken feet, and we were, like, at a bar, and it was just, like, so hectic, man. Like, I was down to, like, have a couple beers, whatever, and we'd already eaten dinner, and, like, the Thai homies are like, oh, yeah, I'll have chicken feet. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't want to be disrespectful, but there's no way I could eat a chicken foot, man. I can't do it.
I don't get it because there's nothing on a chicken foot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, one of my buddies, like, ate it. He was like, whatever, man. Like, went in Thailand, ate the chicken foot. 15 seconds later, man, fully regretted it. He was just like, it just tastes like bones.
Yeah,
like,
that's
what
bone.
it is. Yeah.
It's fried bone. So I was thinking you could, like, eat, like, corn on the cob, like, pick off the fried part. But why?
Yeah, why? Exactly, why? Why when you can just order some chicken, man?
You have the rest of the chicken.
Yeah, there's a whole rest of the chicken. But, I mean, I get it. I get it from a cultural perspective. I mean, you don't want to have waste. And, if you grew up eating chicken feet, you probably like it.
I guess so. But, dude, the Thai guy that I was with when... because I did some couch surfing in Thailand, which was dope. Like, I met up with Solo on Koh Samui.
Right.
We hung out for like a couple days. He had to go back to work.
So amazing.
And I just threw up a thing on couch surfing, like, yo, I'm not really trying to leave. I don't really want to go. And this Thai dude just let me stay in his bungalow, like, on the floor. Like, he didn't have any money. He's just like, yeah, I go to work all day. You can stay here.
That's sick.
But then he went out and he bought me, like, maggots, crickets, and chicken feet.
To eat?
Yeah, like, kind of it's like a novelty thing, you know? Like, it's not like... It's not the same way we would go get, like, a burrito or, like, acai. Like,
yeah.
Just something great to eat.
Yeah.
But, anyway, like, he ate the maggots, so I ate the maggots. He ate a cricket, so I ate the cricket.
Right, so one by one.
And then, so he wouldn't eat the chicken feet.
What?
And so I was like, well, if you're not going to do it, man, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like, how adventurous do you think I am? I mean, you are living on a stranger's floor, but still, how adventurous do you think I am? We're talking about food here.
I had one message with this guy and then lived with him for a week.
Yeah, he probably thought you were, like, down for anything, man.
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, so tell me, like, maggots, man. Were they fried? Like, were they, like, more of, like, a rice consistency? Like...
No, man, they're, like something you get out of a vending machine. Just, like, airy, crunchy, and salted.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, there's not much going on.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's like a chip.
Like, yeah.
And cricket's the same. Like, most bugs I hear are just like that.
Cricket's pretty crunchy.
Like, we just think, I think because of, like, Toy Story, like, we just think they're all juicy and, like, have, like, all these weird flavors.
Right.
Because there's, like, a whole song, oh, no, I'm sorry, I said Toy Story.
Bugs
Lion King.
That's way off. Lion King, Timon and
Lion
Pumbaa.
King.
Like they when
Lion
they're trying
King.
to teach him to eat bugs.
Yeah, that's true.
Slimy yet satisfying.
Yeah.
That's not like something anyone wants to.
I totally forgot about that
experience.
scene, man.
It's important.
Yeah,
It's
it's marketing.
It's in the Smithsonian is the most important scene in movie history.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they're eating bugs?
Yeah.
And they're saying that's like purposely culturally
It
offensive?
dissuaded kids from going to Thailand for years.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that lie. It was that's a dumb thing to lie about.
There's no way. But that makes sense.
But yeah, man. So got fired Friday.
Yeah,
Been
man.
chilling since then.
Yeah,
and
so-
then I even like wrote about this in my notebook. Like for sure, like the conversation, the go-to conversation I've been having and will continue to have.
So what are you
especially
doing
when I go
these
talk to
days?
exactly.
Yeah.
What the fuck is your next long-term option?
I know, man. And it comes
Like,
out of
oh,
nowhere, man.
dude,
You know,
like,
it really
this is a
like...
surprise thing.
Yeah, dude. And I don't know, man. I feel like one of the reasons I've had a great time out here this weekend is because a lot of the time that was spent chilling with like you and my other long-term friends. I feel like that's almost never come up for the majority of the conversations. We've just been cracking jokes and having like good conversations, but I haven't even thought about any types of plans. I've just been living in the moment, man.
Yeah.
Very much so, and that's hard to do in social settings.
Yeah.
They're not moment driven discussions. They're
True.
either past or present. It's very hard to be like, oh, but I want to build a relationship with you and experience things with you, but we're just talking about things that we did and that we're gonna do.
So where do you live now?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you really want to know, like,
And
what
it's so hard
motivates
though.
you?
But have you ever been in a situation where you see somebody that you're like, oh man, like, I want to catch up with this guy, and then you're like, shit, where do I even start? Like,
yeah. I think it's even more basic than that, man. You're just like, you see someone, just like, I just want to tell them how much I love them. I'll use that with other words.
Right.
How's your job? And you're like, fuck, I don't want to talk about that. Like, Jesus
Seriously.
Christ.
Seriously, man, that's one of the best examples, I think, and it can stress you out, kind of. And
Oh, for
sure.
sure.
I've even not to sound like I don't think about my future, but I've definitely even been asked questions that like I haven't even thought about.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm not an unreasonable person, like I do a lot of thinking, but sometimes I'm just like, how'd you even think to ask me something like that?
Yeah. How's your 401k, Pedro?
Yeah,
How's that turning out?
exactly, like,
You know all the options?
Right.
No, man.
right.
But I think that you just made a good point, man. Like, I'm not unreasonable. Like, I do work hard.
Right.
And I think like the best thing that I've been doing is just building good habits.
Yeah,
That's the thing I
huge for me.
kept reading about. Like,
Yeah.
Me and Kasim like went deep on just like, because the thing that really turned my mind about it is that I read, and I believe this to be true so much. You are a slave to your habits, whether they're good or bad.
100% that's true.
No matter what they are,
Yeah.
you're going to keep doing them.
Yeah.
So I'm very careful about what my habits are. And so like the best thing I was doing when I was working is the first 40 minutes of my day, I was just like a Zen robot. Like I'd wake up, take a piss, drink a cup of tea, do yoga for like 5 to 7 minutes,
Right.
just something nice and simple, meditate for 20 minutes solid.
Beautiful
and,
morning routine.
And then I bought this, I swiped this Stoicism book from Quam by Epictetus, who is the teacher of Marcus Aurelius, like the dude from Gladiator.
Ancient Greece, right? Correct.
I'm loyal to the one true emperor, Marcus Aurelius, like that guy. And so I'd read one page of that book because this book is dense, man. Like, I almost wish I brought some quotes from it, which I don't think I did, but.
You I remember you did speak of some of these quotes this weekend.
Yeah,
They
and so
sounded
I bet
great.
I could find one like right quick in this notebook.
Um,
But anyway, so I would just read one page of that, and then I would write a page of notes, because that's something that Tim Ferriss taught me, is like one shitty page a day. That's what he says, one shitty page. Doesn't need to be good.
To accomplish what end?
Just practice.
To practice.
Like, it's just a healthy thing to do.
To practice,
It's
like,
just a great habit.
retaining information, sort of.
Not even that, man. Like, it's just good for the brain. Like,
To write down things that it finds interesting or that it likes.
Yeah, just fucking go.
Yeah. So, like, interesting thing on habits, man. The reason that I believe that habits are such an important part of life is because it's almost scientifically proven. I mean, our brains, we do so many activities in everyday life that our brain relies on habits to complete half of the things that it has to do during the day, maybe even more, because there's just way too much thinking. Like, man, you don't think about driving a car, you do it. That's a habit that a shortcut that your brain has created. And so if you can teach yourself to do all these great things in the morning all the time, and that becomes a habit, you're like, man, I don't even know how to say it. It's almost like you're getting fast-tracked on a great part of life.
So the way I think of it is it's just more efficient. Because your brain has a certain energy level.
Yeah.
You think of it percentage-wise. In the same way your body does. Like, everyone knows you can't lift weights all day.
Right.
But the equivalent for your brain would be learning something new all
the
day.
Time. Yeah.
So, like Tim Ferriss says, like, if you're trying to be an entrepreneur where you have to make decisions all day, you can't do that if you don't already know what you're having for breakfast. That's got to be automated.
Interesting, yeah.
Your morning has to be automated.
You don't want to waste energy or concentration or clarity or willpower even on things that can be automated. That's exactly the word for it. And, like, automated to be good. You can also automate to be bad.
Of course.
Which works in the opposite direction for you. And you want to just
if you do it
completely
unmindfully,
minimize
it
those.
happens.
Yeah, very easily.
I've been a victim of it too, for sure.
Yeah, man, it's happened to me.
Yeah, and it comes in waves,
Yeah.
Like, my morning routine isn't always on point. This weekend it was shit.
Right.
Like, I didn't meditate that much.
Right.
And I feel it. Like, I feel different.
Yeah.
But I think that's something we said, man. Like, we've been eating like shit this weekend.
Yep.
But, like, how dope is that? That, like, for us, like, fucking up is eating like a couple burritos.
It's amazing. It's incredible.
Like, for most people, that's all they do, right?
I was thinking about it today.
We know a lot of people that's their entire life is just like burritos, like fast food, like.
Yep.
That's really normal.
Today I had my first home-cooked meal in the last 5 days. And prior to these last 5 days, I've eaten 80 to 90% of my meals cooked by my own hands, So just eating that home-cooked meal this morning was incredible, man.
So sick.
So incredible. I mean, aside from the fact that it was absolutely, like, stunningly delicious, like, it was just the home-cooked aspect of it took it up a whole nother notch.
Bro, the way that meal came to us, I think it's so funny. I keep thinking about it, man. Like, she's trying so hard to wife up Quam. Like,
yeah.
Like, because here's a big factor that I forgot about. So our buddy Quam that, like, Pedro and I both lived with in San Diego, he's trying to dip to South America for, like, a year. And I think she's in, like, just overtime mode, like, just selling herself on, like, no, stay here with me.
Yeah.
Here's a great meal. Yeah. And make it for you and all your friends.
I think that's
I'm gonna clean your entire house.
That must be natural human behavior, man, probably.
Oh, for sure. She's domesticating him.
Yeah.
She's just building, like, why would you want to leave?
Right, exactly.
Isn't this everything you ever wanted?
Exactly. And
but at the same time,
breakfast
man, like,
that we got this
exactly.
morning because we're just the homies.
But I think that plan, like, it has a diminishing return because you only really appreciate that food because we haven't been having it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas opposed to, like, when we get that every single day, you just get used to it. It becomes just you habitually just sit down and, like, you stop paying attention.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's fucking good, but, like, it was good yesterday, will be good tomorrow.
Right.
And so, and for that reason, like, I don't think it's such a good long-term strategy for her. He'll just get used to it and then still dip to South America.
Yeah. I mean, and he tends to be one of those dudes that just sort of, like, unscathingly walks out of the debris, like, not even a piece of dust on his shirt, man. Like, somehow through these ridiculous situations, like, the quintessential image of that homie is when me, Bua, and Kia were trying to catch a flight to Tenerife in Spain out of Madrid airport, right? And our flight was at, like, 8 in the morning. And we had gotten there pretty early. Quam was on our flight, too. When Quam told us he wasn't going with us to the airport when we left to get there 2 hours ahead of time, he was like, nah, man, I'm going to go later. And we were like, okay, well, we're just going to accept that you're not going to be on the flight. Like, we'll see you when we get back here. But somehow, man, that guy did all these things. Like, we went straight to the airport from the club. He went home, packed his clothes, took a nap, took a shower, got dressed, and then left and got there the same method as us. Like, then got on the train and left to get to the airport. And we sat there. We probably had like 30 minutes to spare, like, in the time that we all the time it took us just to get through security and, you know, do all this stuff and walk through the escalators. The time we sit down, we're killing like 30, 40 minutes. And right when we get up to start boarding, in our line of boarding, Kwam just strolls up just from like the rest of the airport into like the boarding line with us. And we were just like, but how, man? Like any other person would have just missed this flight, you know? So yeah, he's
got luck.
He's got Kwam luck.
He's got Kwam luck.
Yeah, and so it'll find its balance. Yeah. Yeah, that guy's gonna have a great time in South America, man. South America is like big time on my traveling list.
Oh,
I don't know when I'm ever gonna get to go. I wish I could go with like, honestly, with him or like with you or any of the homies. It would just be
so
amazing,
sick.
man. Yeah, I can't imagine road tripping through a bunch of different countries.
Yeah, the way he's doing it is savage, man.
Yeah, it's
San
really
Diego
intense.
to Cabo, take a ferry to the mainland,
Yeah.
all the way down to Chile.
Yeah, in his
Jesus
own car,
Christ, man.
all in his own car. Mostly camping down the way he wants to do, I think.
Sketchy, man.
Sketchy a bit. I mean, hosteling
sketchy.
too, but I think when he talks about camping, he talks about maybe like beach camping, but still, man, that's a very big adjustment. Very
Yeah.
sketchy. Foreign countries.
Yeah.
It's not just beach camping out in Oceanside. Like, this is like, you're in Colombia, man. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. You straight up don't know. That's one of the things, like, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier with, like, calibration, you know? Like, most humans will think, like, oh, you know, I'm just driving, like, you know, through the countryside and camping. Like, it's not that big a deal. I do that all the time. Or I don't even do that. I do that here and there, but I know how to do it. I can do it. And then they're in that situation in a foreign country, and they're like, what the hell was I thinking, man? Like,
sketchy.
yeah, this is sketchy and
but
hectic.
I think what he has on his side, like obviously we just talked about Kwam lag, but that fucking sociable nature I think will come into play so much.
man.
I think he's gonna stay in a
Yeah.
lot of people's houses.
Yeah.
Like people he just met.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. Yeah, and he definitely has that sociable aspect. It's funny how our group of friends has, like, differing levels of social, like, what
charisma.
do we say? Charisma, I guess. Yeah, just being able to be dropped into a situation, and it doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter like where you are, any of that is walking out with friends like 15 minutes, 20 minutes later.
Yeah,
you know?
dude, like where could Mikey English go and not
Oh
make
yeah,
friends?
yeah, exactly. Like you could should have dropped that guy in a place where you're like never think anything would happen, and next thing you know, come back, he's just got a squad of homies.
Dude,
like,
my mate.
But I don't. Yeah,
my mate.
yeah, dude. It's. Yeah, man. But you know what? I think that those moments also come to people. Like, if you ever just had a great experience when you're traveling, when you're just like, how lucky am I, man? Like, that happened
No,
to me.
I didn't have any good experiences traveling. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Of course. It was just way too hectic, man.
So boring.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, those opportunities where you're just like, I literally just had a day that probably nobody else will ever have. And, like, a bunch of really sick things just lined up today. And that was sick.
The craziest one for me was, like, I just told you I went to Koh Samui with Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Our buddy Ansel, he was teaching in, like, bumfuck Thailand. Like, just a really small town, like, not on the touristy path. Because Thailand's
Like,
very touristy. Like,
dude,
there's a path.
the
Like,
jungle,
you go to
man.
Chiang Mai.
He was
you go to
teaching in the jungle.
Bangkok, you go to the islands. And so I went to go meet him, and he just told me the name of a city, which is Bansang. And so that guy that I was sleeping in his bungalow, I told him, I was like, I need to get to Bansang. How do I get there? And he's like, fuck do I know, man? I've never been anywhere.
Yeah.
And so he just wrote it down in Thai on a piece of paper. So I couldn't verify it, right? I don't know what Bansang looks like in Thai.
Right.
So I just had this sketchy piece of paper, went to the bus driver, and was like, I need to get here, Bansang. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I don't know if it says it right. And he's like, yeah,
you have no idea.
this is right bus. I pay my money, get on the bus.
The whole time, you probably have this sketchy gut feeling like, dude, I could just totally be blowing it right
I don't
now.
know where the
I could
fuck
be
I'm
blowing
going.
it. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know how long this is
Yeah.
supposed to take.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I
Yeah.
can't ask anyone.
There's no signs in English.
No signs
You have
in
no idea
English.
what's going on.
No, yeah, as soon as you leave the touristy path, nothing's in English.
Yeah.
And so I'm on this bus for, like, hours. Like, it's picking up school children, like, there's, like...
Yeah, nobody tells you when you're supposed to get on or off. Like, sometimes the bus will drive for, like, miles. Sometimes it drives for, like, a block. And you're like, but what's going on here? Like,
Yeah. And then there's, like, school children, like, napping on my shoulders.
wow.
Like, you know how Thais do that? They just sleep on anyone?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no boundary. Just like, oh, you're there?
Yeah, that happened in the Songtao all the time.
And so I showed up there, and luckily the guy, like, called me out. He's like, hey, Farang, get off.
The driver.
Yeah, hooked it up. I
Thank
thought. And he just dropped me off, like, like at a bench, like just a bench, and I'm just sitting there like I don't have a phone.
Yeah.
Like obviously there's no Wi-Fi like on this bench.
Right.
And then 20 minutes later, Solo just cruises by.
On a moped.
He's like, "Why the fuck are you over here?" Like
on a moped?
on a moped.
Did he know you were coming that day?
Yeah,
He
but
knew
like
he had no idea where.
like I was supposed to go to the bus station. I wasn't there.
Yeah. Okay. He just dropped you off in the middle of nowhere.
But then it gets more ridiculous, man. That night we went to a party in a different city. Like hopped on a train to a different city because my visa was running up.
So you
like
had a
how
visa
long is
run?
a Thai visa? It's like 30 days.
30 days.
Yeah, so I was like, I didn't even check. Like I was like, all right, I think it's up soon. I should get the fuck out of this country.
Right.
We arrived there. I look at my visa. I have to get out the next morning.
Yeah.
And so we're at this party, like, just sitting there, like, fuck, how do we get to Malaysia tomorrow? And this homie, this white guy, John, just goes, I'm going to Malaysia. I'll pick you up. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, this surfer from San Diego is just like, oh, I'm doing the exact same thing. Yeah, I got you.
For a visa run?
For a visa run.
So you guys drove to Malaysia?
He picked me up on his moped at the hotel, took me to the bus station, got me on the right bus, cruised with me, chilled with me in Penang.
That's so
the
sick.
northernmost city in Malaysia.
That's so sick.
And then I just didn't really have like a next move. Like he had to get back to work,
Right.
so he was like on a schedule.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, man. Like, you know, Muay Thai was dope. Maybe I'll go back there, but I'm like a couple thousand miles away.
Right.
I don't really know what to do. But Solo kept telling me about Langkawi, this island off the coast of Malaysia.
Right.
It's a duty-free island and just tropical as fuck. Like, you know, the south of Thailand, like blue seas.
Yeah, the
it's
beach.
Always got
the
beach.
beach.
It's the beach from the beach.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, what's it called? Like when the water, you can just go in there at night and wave your hand and it glows.
Fluorescent, phosphorescent, something like that.
The whole island is that.
That's amazing.
Whatever that's called.
That's amazing.
And so I was just we're sitting there at this bar, like, yeah, I think I'll go there.
What's it called again?
Langkawi.
Langkawi.
And so
Sounds amazing.
And so we're sitting there, and this girl's like, "Yeah, I got this this boat ticket to Langkawi in the morning, but I don't think I'm going to go on it." And I just like perked up. I was like, "I'll buy that ticket." 2 a.m.
Like, how did that happen, man? You gotta ask yourself that. This randomness of the universe is crazy, man.
It gets crazier, man. So I just bought the ticket, went on went straight back to the hotel. I was like, "All right, see you guys. I just got this ticket. I have to go to sleep."
Yeah.
Went back to the hotel, went on couchsurfing.com, looked up Langkawi. There's like 3 people on there that like accept travelers.
Yeah.
Sent 3 messages, closed my laptop, went to sleep, woke up, did not check, ran to the boat, fucked up like several times along the way. You know, going the wrong direction, asked someone running this way.
Yeah, yeah.
With my huge ass backpack,
Yeah.
my skinny little legs can
Yeah.
barely carry.
Yeah.
Completely overpacked. And then just take this sketchy boat over there, watching this like super intense like war movie. Like, just like, not a good one, just like ultra violent with a terrible story.
Right.
And just show up in Langkawi, find Wi-Fi, and check my messages and like, oh, sorry, like, I'm all full, like, good luck finding a place in Langkawi. It's a small island, all the hostels are usually booked. And I just sat there, like, I got a cup of coffee, like, pulled out my notebook, like, all right, what the fuck do I do now?
Yeah.
Kept messaging the guy back and forth. He's like, what are you gonna do? I don't really know. Fuck, I'm gonna drink this coffee.
Yeah.
Like, all right,
I know one thing for sure.
Yeah. He's like, all right, I'll come meet you. He comes to meet me.
A guy that said that his place was full.
Yeah, like he already had travelers.
Right.
He comes there and is just like, all right, you seem cool. You can stay on my couch. I ended up staying there for 3 weeks.
Wow.
This dude, he's the only dog walker on the island.
What?
He's like a dog expert. He's friends with the dog whisperer.
What?
The dog whisperer called this guy the dog whisperer. He's like, you truly are.
The ultimate tribute.
The ultimate tribute.
Wow.
And so for 3 weeks, I just hung out with this guy, and his clients are like the richest of the rich. Langkawi is like now it's a big golf destination.
Right.
Like there's a certain golfer they kept mentioning that like I don't know much about professional golf, but I knew this guy. I've since forgotten his name.
Right.
But there's only like 5 golfers I know.
Uh-huh.
He's one of them. He's a big deal. Not Phil Mickelson, not Tiger Woods, whoever the next guy.
What was his connection again? I'm sorry.
He bought a house in Langkawi. All these
okay.
golfers are moving there.
Okay.
So one of the houses that I chilled at was the owner or president of HBO.
What?
His just $1 million estate. He's got a dog there.
In Langkawi.
In Langkawi, beach view, got a pool. Jumped off his roof into his pool.
How'd you wind up there? Just because the dog walker guy knows everybody.
He was
He's the original dog whisperer.
He was walking their dogs. So he had keys to the house. He'd show up.
And where was he from?
Malaysia. He's a local.
He's Malaysian.
Yeah, a Malay.
Wow. Good English?
Perfect.
Wow.
He's one of those dudes, like, do you ever meet someone like this who's been everywhere?
No, well, you kind of. Actually, no.
No,
I have
every single place that I brought up, he's like, yeah, I went there. Like, he's been to every state.
Yeah.
He's been to Africa, like, all over.
Yeah.
He's been to all of the, what do they call it, like, the world wonders?
Yeah, the 7 wonders of the world.
Yeah, he's been to all of them.
Wow.
Every country.
I was wondering, is Angkor Wat one of the 7 world wonders? I need to look that up.
It's possible. I mean, it's
very
pretty amazing.
possible. It's very amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
How was your experience there?
Oh, Angkor Wat is the most beautiful. I think just the most absolutely beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life, man.
It's incredible.
It's incredible, yeah. It's more than just
ancient
beauty,
temples.
man. It's more than just beauty. I mean, there's just this like aura there of just,
shit went down.
Shit went down there, seriously. And you see these creations of people thousands of years ago. They're like these magnificent temples. They're huge. You're just like, how did this exist, dude?
Like the temples are so amazing that a city sprung up around it just to support it.
Type of temples that make you ponder your own existence.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
Bro, I was exhausted when I went to Angkor Wat.
Oh, so tired, man.
Like
so tired.
The night before, like I got to Siem Reap, like the city of that Angkor Wat's there.
Right.
The only thing to see in Siem Reap is Angkor Wat.
Right.
Like, that's the only reason people go there.
Right.
I just got there and like checked into my hostel, and when you first like every place I showed up at, I didn't have accommodation booked. I never had accommodation booked.
I started to fall into that, man. I started to fall into that towards the end of my travel. Like, towards the end of my Cambodian travel, I started to really fall into that.
Into not booking?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I never did.
I became more and more lax with what I was doing. I was like, I need to book this a week in advance. And I was like, I need to book this 3 days in advance. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just show up, man.
Yeah.
It can't be that bad.
And it always worked out.
Yeah.
So, like, when you do that, like, you just, like, there's an underlying anxiety associated with it.
Right.
As should be.
Right.
And so, I just, like, get off there. Like, it's hot as fuck. I carry my bag around. And you just have to go hostel to hostel and be like, do you have room? No? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And just keep going. And so, as soon as I found a place, like, took off my bag, like, took a shower, go straight to the bar. Mm-hmm. What the fuck else are you going to do? I'm not going to the temples that day. Mm-hmm. And I struck up a conversation with this South African dude who I thought he was such a liar because he told me he worked for NASA.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, all right, dude, like, I'm not a girl. Like, you don't have to, like, try to, like you have to bullshit me.
Yeah, come on, we're here.
You work for NASA.
Yeah, we're in Angkor Wat,
like, no,
man.
what the
Come
fuck
on.
do you do, man? Like, no, it's not, okay, you work for NASA, whatever.
Yeah.
But he does. He worked for NASA.
No way.
He did. Like, he had, like, the identification. He told his crazy stories.
That's insane.
But then we were sitting there just drinking, and we started talking about Europe, and this girl behind us went, Europe!
Uh-huh.
And she was from there.
Right.
And so we're like, okay, we'll go drink with her.
Yeah.
And she was, like, this big Lithuanian, like, fucking pounding beers.
Right.
And so we
and
all
beer
went,
costs what? Like a quarter in Cambodia? Anywhere from a quarter to $1.
Get Angkor beer.
Angkor beer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just so great, man. Like,
yeah.
And so we all went out to dinner, and then they all wanted to go drinking. So we all went to this bar, and they were taking shots, and I wasn't really.
Yeah.
But that Lithuanian girl, she speaks fluent Chinese. She started chatting with a Chinese girl. All the people that I got there with, who showed me how to get to the bar, who led me through the complicated streets of Siem Reap, they all got hammered and left. So I'm there with this Chinese girl. We're chilling, just talking. We kind of walk around the city, and it gets to be like 1 or 2 a.m. She's like, I got a flight in the morning. Like, I got to go. And I was like, I don't know where the fuck my hostel is.
Where am I?
Yeah. And she's like, I don't fucking know. Like,
Yeah.
we were staying in different places.
Yeah.
Like, if that Lithuanian girl was there, like, I'd be like, oh, I save you.
Yeah.
You can show me where to go.
Right, but no.
But it worked
it's
out
not.
perfectly. I told this Chinese girl, I was like, I gotta stay with you. Like, I don't know where else to go. Like,
Yeah.
there's literally, like, nothing, there's no landmarks.
Yeah.
And so it worked out well. Like, we went back to our hotel, smashed, just, like, out of logistic reasons. Like,
Just because you're there, that's so funny.
like, it worked out so well.
Yeah.
And next morning, got up at, like, 7, like, there's a river there. There's always, like, a good landmark.
Right.
Found my way. Got walked back home by a ladyboy.
There you go.
Just walking behind me. You want a massage? No. You want me to hold your... No.
No. Don't need anything.
No, thank
Maybe
you.
directions.
No, don't need... Don't need anything from you. Thank you.
That's so
Thank
funny,
you.
man. I was walking around. I just had such a funny experience getting to Angkor Wat when I got to the temple. It was right after I left Thailand. I
You
left
hire
all
a
the
tuk-tuk
homies.
driver?
Yeah, hire a tuk-tuk driver. Like I was kind of in a bit of a like bittersweet stage because I was like, oh, I'm so excited to be here in Cambodia, but Thailand is done, and I don't know the next time I'm gonna get back there. And I just remember getting up to the temple, the first main temple, and just walking up past the moat on the outer bridge, right?
Amazing.
And I was just like, oh my god, this is incredible. I'm looking at this entire like castle-like structure.
It's straight up a medieval style moat.
Yeah, and so like you get up, you cross that, and that alone is like so much walking, and then you get inside. Not in a bad way. It's huge.
Yeah.
So you get inside,
So
and then
much
there's
walking.
like an entire like courtyard, but a courtyard is an understatement. It was like 4 football fields long,
Yeah.
but it's like a quote unquote courtyard.
Like they call it Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat's the name of one temple.
Yeah.
It's a fucking it's a couple miles of temples.
Right.
Which is why you have to hire a tuk-tuk driver.
Right. And what
Which
I started
is just like a sketchy ass motorcycle with a
yeah,
carriage.
just it's insane. And like what I started to realize was that being in Angkor Wat, I'll drive up to a temple and be like, that looks absolutely, beautiful. And the guy would be like, all right, you want to hop out and, go check it out? And I'd just be like, this is after like the 4th or 5th one, after you've really walked around a lot of it. And you just go like,
exhausting.
I want to go walk over there, but I'm already beat and, just it's hard to fathom how far it actually is, like to finally get up in there,
Yeah, it's almost too much. Dude,
yeah.
You know what Angkor Wat reminded me of? Like I've been to the Vatican twice, with USD.
Right.
Like we went on dope, USD is a Catholic school, so they hooked us up with Vatican tours. Mm-hmm. Angkor Wat looks exactly like the Vatican if a nuclear bomb was dropped nearby.
Yeah.
If someone bombed Rome.
Yeah.
And then 1,000 years later, we came back to the Vatican, and they're kind of piecing it back together.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it looks like. It's
very
apocalyptic.
Very apocalyptic. I mean, they have those.
There's trees growing out of it.
Yeah, what's that one they call it? The the Tomb Raider temple.
Yeah.
Where there's huge trees growing out of it, man. Not just
Yeah.
small ones. And they've got some really
Not shrubs.
No, not shrubs.
Fucking trees.
Fucking trees, man. Like several men wide trees. They've got these restoration projects going on right now, which are pretty crazy. I remember the last temple that I walked through. There was just this entire diagram of this was the temple before the restoration began. This is what it looks like now, and you're just looking like, this is amazing. This is truly amazing that they can maintain this place as close as they can to what it has been from its original state in its decay.
Yeah. And some people get upset about that. What, you're fixing the old shit?
Yeah,
and
man.
It's kind of they kind of have to.
And you know what else is
falling
cool
apart.
is it's
1,000 years old.
Yeah, it's by nature. You have to repair those. It won't be there anymore. What's great is how it's, ruins, but it's still such a holy place. Mm-hmm. You still got the monks walking the grounds there, just like they would at any other temple in Southeast Asia.
Right. Children monks,
crazy.
too.
Yeah.
How crazy are children monks?
They're crazy, man.
What a life.
So, did you ever notice how, there's, it almost seems like a Disney movie, man. There's the 2 homies that I would see walking home from school, and one of them is, trains at the Sansai gym, and the other one is just, the homie monk kid, in the monk robe, And it's just, how crazy is that? That's the tale of 2 friends that are growing up together in Thailand. They know each other since they're very young, both kind of apart from their families, sent away to carry on this task or whatever this occupation is going to be. And one guy is going to be a fighter, and the other guy is going to be a monk. It's mind blowing. Some
of the 2 best options for Thais.
Yeah.
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 Go live at the temple. White people will give you some offerings sometimes. Yeah. Go fight for the white people. Sometimes they pay you. It's crazy. That's just the options given to them.
It really is, man.
Fucking crazy, man.
It really is.
So Pedro, we've hit about 45 minutes, man.
Wow. It's flown by.
Time is relative,
yeah,
man.
It's so relative, man. This is crazy, man. This has been a great experience. I'm glad we got to get this before I left, too, man.
And we were talking about stoicism earlier.
Right.
I found a quote.
Cool. Read it to me.
Try to be as kind to yourself as possible. Do not measure yourself against others or even against your ideal self. Human betterment is a gradual 2 steps forward, 1 step back effort.
That's one of the truest things I've heard in a long time, man. On so many levels.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it. Thanks for listening, guys. Tales of Macaque podcast. I'm out.
Peace.